Come what may, bring it on. I'm gonna love it.
Welcome to LDS Unmarried Life, a podcast for single members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who find themselves single either because they're divorced, widowed, or not yet married. There is no affiliation with the church. All right, today I have a few things that I wanted to announce before we get into our topic. First of all, you can see the video on Facebook Live on Annette Talks Facebook page. So not the video of the podcast, but just meeting the crew ahead of time. So I would recommend that you go there. The second thing I wanted to talk about was that I am setting up a Patreon page where I'm going to have some locked content. And I think that it's going to be patreon.com/Annette Talks. It's not up yet, but it's in the works, should be up within the next week or so. So if you really appreciate what I'm doing and you want to show your love and support, you can go there in about a week. And there will be 2 tiers you can choose from. And tier 1 gets you access to this locked content. Tier 2 lets you be a part of the locked content. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be recording an extra episode every month called Ask Annette, where I will take questions from my tier 2 patrons, and then I will go and research the answer, and I will post that in my Patreon page. And I can give you a shout out if you want or not, depending on if you want to stay anonymous. And the questions do not have to be about being single or a member of the church necessarily. I'm opening it up to just about anything except for legal advice. I'm not going to do that. Yes, I'm an attorney, and no, I'm not giving legal advice. So that's one big thing that's going on. Another thing is that Steve Smith and I are getting ready to publish the book. It's going to be called Dating After Divorce, an LDS Survival Guide. And finally getting the cover art and everything ready for that. So that will be eventually on my website at AnnetteTalks.com as well. Then the next thing was I just wanted to give you a heads up about the Albuquerque Mid-Singles Conference coming up next month. It's March 22nd through the 24th, and you can find it at abqmidsinglesconference.com. And I'm going to be there, and a few other friends from Denver will be there. And my goal is to podcast while I'm there. So if you're going to be there, or if you haven't even heard of it, you might want to check into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to have escape rooms, Mexican food, seminars, including, I think, financial independence. They're going to do an art project. They're going to make tortillas. They're going to do a class on personal safety, which might be like a Krav Maga kind of thing, not sure. Thursday night, if you go early, you can do a temple session. Friday night, they're doing dinner, speed dating, games. And the best part of the entire conference is going to be Saturday night when they do an 80s dance. Yeah, woo-hoo. That's like almost the whole reason I'm going, is the 80s dance.
And they have an awesome DJ.
Yeah, they have the best DJ in the entire world. If they're using the same guy they used the last
I can't see why they wouldn't.
3 years. So
actually, I became friends with him on Facebook because he was so good.
Well, you need to shoot me his name so I can become friends. This guy's awesome.
Cool.
The dances at the Albuquerque Singles Conference are the best dances I have ever been to because of this DJ. So anyway, and then Sunday they're going to do a brunch and church and then dinner and a fireside. I don't think we're leaving Sunday midday, so we'll miss some of that. But anyway, if you're going, come find me. I want to podcast with you. I want to podcast with Albuquerque people. I want to podcast with people from other states, cities, whatever. Anyway, so that is all of my plugs. And what I'm going to do first before getting into the main topic is I want to give you an example of what's going to be on Ask Annette. And so I already put out a call for questions, and I got the first question. And you know what? Let me go ahead and introduce everyone first so that we can start the discussion after I ask the question. So as always, it's me, Annette Bybee. I am the host of the program. You can find this program at Ask Annette, also iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, I think Spotify. Anyway, I am 50. I've been divorced for about 3.5 years, and I have 3 girls that are ages almost 11, 10, and 8. And to my right,
I'm Angie Turner. I have 2 girls that are 16 and 22, and I've never been married.
Mark Granger, originally from England.
like we can't tell.
I'm
I got 3 newbies today. It's really exciting.
I'm an atheist convert, twice married, LDS, twice divorced. I have 3 children, 26, 23, and 12. And I just started my own shopping consultant business.
All right. Awesome. And
I am Nicole Gamboni, originally from Chicago, Illinois. I am 30-something, and I have 4 boys. I have been divorced for almost 6 years now.
all right.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm a Colorado native. Hey, Colorado.
I love the snow.
Love the snow.
Loved shoveling this morning. Anyway,
No, I love shoveling. Someone did my walks for me. I was so upset. I'm like, no, that was my gig.
you can come anytime over here. Yeah.
It's a great
Man,
workout.
it's good stuff. All right, I have a 13-year-old boy, and I've been divorced for 6-7 months, somewhere in that range.
All right. And so
Without
3 of you are new, and I'm
Yes.
really excited about that.
Yeah.
Angie's been on before, although just once or twice?
Once or twice, yeah.
So, and sorry. Oh, thank you. See, I have a picture in front of me, and I still forgot. On the phone, we have. Hello, Pat.
Oh, you ready for me now?
Yes. You're allowed to talk now. Introduce yourself.
All right. Hi, I'm Pat Steele. I am turning 50 this year.
Yay!
Not necessarily worried about that at all, other than I know my AARP mail will start coming to me now.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually got one in the mail the other day.
I
I'm
could care less
so
about what they
not
think
happy
today.
with that. All right, go ahead, Pat.
So, but anyways, single, never been married, no kids. I live in Mesa, Arizona, and have known Annette for too long.
Nice.
I'm currently sitting in a hotel room in Greenwood, South Carolina, which is home to Lander University. Go Bearcats! And yeah, I'm here training someone for 2 weeks, and I'm in the middle of that training time.
All right. We like having Pat check in because he's always in some different state or whatever. It's like this wandering
All over the place.
dude. All right. So I am going to ask this. I'm going to read this email I got from a listener that was kind of disturbing. And so I wanted to answer it. This is what the Ask Annette's going to look like. Only it'll be a full episode. Probably usually just me. And I'm going to answer questions in depth. Today I'm going to answer this one with some of my research, and then I'm going to have my panel discuss it as well. So here it is. Dear Annette, I have been listening to your podcasts, and I haven't gotten a chance to listen to all of them yet, so I don't know if you've addressed my question in one or not. So forgive me if you have. So my situation is I have never been in a real serious relationship and am 33 years old. I don't go to singles activities because I always feel so weird at them and feel like I can't relate to anybody. I think that's pretty still kind of the
everybody
case.
does.
Anyway. The guys I meet there seem to have nothing in common with my interests, and I frankly find them incredibly boring. However, I am very strong in the church, grew up in it, so I go to the family board to avoid all that awkwardness. I have dabbled in online dating and tried participating in some not church-sponsored singles events like a singles cruise, for example. My question is that in my experience, every single guy I have dated or considered dating that I have either met online or at these events at some point always brings up sex and tries to pressure me into doing sexual things, whether it be talk dirty with them or exchange pictures of a sexual nature. I feel incredibly uncomfortable with this, but do admit that I have on occasion given in to these experiences, or these suggestions, and then, of course, felt incredibly guilty about it. I don't even want to know, but I'm just hoping it was a talk dirty. Anyway, is this the same kind of experiences other women have had when trying to meet LDS guys? All of these guys I have had these experiences with are LDS and claim to be active and were returned missionaries. Am I being a prude and too innocent? Is this just human nature? I do very badly want to get married, and I am wondering if I need to stop being so surprised when these things come up. I would love to hear a discussion with both men and women on one of your podcasts about this topic. Any help is appreciated. Anonymous.
Wow.
So I replied with, and we talked for a little bit, and I just confirmed that all the guys that she was getting these suggestions from or whatever were supposedly all active in the church, and she said yes. So I made a poll on Facebook, and I posted in 3 different LDS singles groups, and this is what I put on there. I have received this question for my podcast. Please help me with my research. Have you ever received requests to send inappropriate pictures and or engage in dirty talk from singles who claim to be active members of the church? Feel free to elaborate in the comments if you like, keeping it clean, of course. Because one of the things I'm finding in some of these groups online is that they don't keep it clean all the time, which is really disappointing. But let me just let me give the results first, and then we'll open up for discussion. So in one of the first groups, I asked the women what they've received from men. 56 women said yes on several occasions. 49 people, men and women, said no, never, thank goodness. And then from women, I had 15 men said yes on several occasions from women. 6 men, once or twice from women. 5 women, once or twice from men. So that basically a lot of yeses. And then some of the comments on that one were, yes, it's hard to find even LDS guys that honor the priesthood covenants and treat women like Heavenly Father's daughters and aren't just looking for someone to meet their physical desires. Through online dating sites, apps, but who knows if they were truly members or active members in any way. They did, however, claim active status. Another lady, I have talked to guys from my stake who have asked for inappropriate pictures 20 minutes into our first conversation. At that point, I kindly asked them to lose my number and forget who I am. And then another lady, I had a few when I was trying the online dating that seemed like they wanted to head that way with questions, but I shut it down. Another lady, I've also been asked very inappropriate questions by guys too. I gave up on online dating sites, especially the church-based ones like LDS Planet. That one was worst, with guys asking inappropriate questions or wanting to hook up. Really, with online dating, how can you tell if they are members? Anyone can claim being a member, and no one would think anything of it until inappropriate behavior comes into play. And then someone else says, just a minute, Mark, hold your phone. Someone else says, oh yes, LDS Planet was a joke, the worst site I've ever been on. The boldness was shocking. Had they lied to themselves for so long that they started to believe it? I don't know. All right, so I have a few comments about that, but I'm gonna finish giving the statistics. And I don't know how many of the same people are answering these questions, so it could be that the numbers are higher than reality. This is not a scientific poll at all. This is a real casual poll. So I think I got some of the same people on some of these. But on the next one, we had 35 say no, never, thank goodness. 18 women said yes on many occasions. 6 women said once or twice. 2 men said once or twice. 1 man said yes on many occasions. I have to wonder about that guy, but anyway, then another comment. Unfortunately, on every single official dating site, I'm extremely careful with whom I communicate and what I allow to be discussed. It's happened enough that I pulled all of my dating profiles and won't go back to any official dating site. It's not something I have the desire to sort through anymore. Another lady, received plenty, engaged in no. They'll get blocked or ghosted as soon as they start with that. And the last Facebook page, we had 38 women say no, never, thank goodness. 22 women said yes on several occasions. 5 women said once or twice. 1 man said yes on several occasions. 1 woman said constantly. She made up her own answer. Okay, and then a few of the comments. I have received offers to be sent pics. I have been asked to send pics. I have been asked for specific details, and I won't go into what she said there because it's not very clean. And then she says, thank heavens the losers weeded themselves out of the running quickly. Another woman, I had a guy from an LDS dating site get angry at me because I wouldn't have phone sex with him. Another lady, it was amazing to me how often this happened, and when I would decline it, turn to, oh, you think you're better than me? We are all human. Don't you miss the physical side of being with someone? It was a never-ending cycle. So, to my anonymous friend, you're not the only one. I want to add, I have never received pics. I've never received a request for pictures. I've never received a request for dirty talk. I mean, I tend to keep all my conversations local. I don't try and date long distance. So maybe I don't know. I don't know why some women are getting, but obviously a lot of women are having this experience. One thing that kind of stuck out to me is that a lot of people are complaining about Planet. And already you can tell by looking at the profiles that like half of the men on there are not members. Because they say something really soon that gives them away. And so I do wonder if some of these women are not weeding through those. I don't know why so many men think that they can do this. So I want to ask the women in the group first, have you been solicited for pictures or this kind of thing?
I don't have an online profile, so I'm just going to step out of that one, but I can speak to some of the other stuff later.
Okay,
so.
that was Amy. All
Yeah.
right.
So this is Nikki, and yes, I have had experiences both on LDS singles and the Mutual app. The men will come on and say they are active members of the church. These are all men in different states, so I think it makes it easier for them to claim that they're single and worthy, and first couple of days the conversations are super clean and innocent, and then as soon as they pull you in, they will ask for, can you send me a picture? And my comment is, there's 3 pictures already on here. Because when you set it up, you have to give a couple pictures anyhow. And I've had some say, well, like, how about your full body shot? You said you were short. How short are you? But it's, so they can kind of get an idea. So I was onto it, and that wasn't something that I was going to send them, and I blocked them right away. I've also had some men that said they were active, and during conversations with them, something told me to ask them if they smoked or drank alcohol, and the guy did. And he was sending me pictures of his kids. He seemed super nice, and then he said, "Is that a problem?" And I said, "Well, if you're an active member of the church, yes, that's a problem. Like, that's not what I'm looking for, and you can't be an active member. I've only been a convert for 5 years, but I know enough to know
the word of
that,
wisdom thing.
Yes, to know that that's not kosher.
Do you have a full body picture on your profile?
I do on my Facebook.
Okay.
Not on Mutual and LDS. So those are only, and it tells you it has to be church guidelines. So when you put them on there, they have to be approved. So there shouldn't be any tank tops or anything like that.
They say that, but stuff sneaks in.
There have been.
It does anyway.
Yeah, and I've stayed away from that one. But in the end, that's why I don't online date anymore, because the trust, I just feel like it's a joke. It's all, they just want to, for lack of a better word, get off.
Get off.
Yeah.
And that's not something that I'm going to supply them with.
Well, the reason I asked that is because, I put a full body shot on because, a clean one, obviously, a very innocuous one, so that they can have an idea of what my body type is. So if someone was to ask me for a full body shot after seeing that, right away a red flag would go up. Yeah. Why are you asking for this? Like you said, there are already pictures on there. So if someone's asking for pictures when obviously there are already pictures,
Yeah.
That would
and I can see after a month or something, they want a clean body shot of you, just standing up
or like
in
a
church
selfie.
or something.
I could
exactly,
see
like just
hey, what do you look like? What are you doing right now? Like,
yes,
I'm curious. I've done that with the guy I'm chatting with.
Yes,
that because you see pictures on there and everyone's all dressed up, dolled up, whatever. Sometimes it's fun just to get a casual. What are you doing right now? Take a picture.
Yeah.
And just on your phone, I want to see your face because I'm curious to see what you're doing right now.
Right.
but not, oh, I need to see. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
All the.
Yeah, and I'd even feel more comfortable if they wanted to FaceTime versus
Yeah.
send me a shot, because then you don't know who you're talking to. It just feels more authentic.
Or what
Sure.
they're doing with that picture.
Well, exactly.
True.
Yeah, you're right. Ugh, I
Yeah.
hate
My
the
sexy
topic.
pictures of me in my concrete truck are super sexy selfie ones.
That's funny because there was a thing on Facebook where it, I don't know who shared this, but it was like, these are the sexy pictures that a man sent to his wife. And it was him like cleaning the kitchen.
Vacuuming,
Yeah, it was him feeding the baby. I'm like, those are so sexy.
There's actually
Yeah.
an entire calendar called Women Porn, and it's like guys doing household chores. There's
Oh,
like a guy
yeah.
vacuuming and like a guy doing dishes, a guy
Heck yeah.
dusting. It's like, yes, women
Now
porn.
I need to know what I need to change in my profile to get more
Oh my
attention.
gosh, a man that does things? Oh my gosh.
So guys, this is a clue. Put a picture of yourself doing household chores. You'll get more play.
Yes. All right. So Angie, have you encountered any of this?
I have to say, I have never had any luck online. I've never really even had conversations with guys online. I don't know if it's that I'm just way too selective or what. So I have to say, I've never experienced this because I've never really had conversations with guys online.
Okay. So, all right. I picked the wrong women. No, just kidding. So let's go to the men then, because I want to see if they've had any experiences like this.
Actually, I can interject on that real quick, though.
Okay.
I do have a sister who's single, and she was, we were looking at profiles one night, and I saw this. This is Amy, by the way. I got to learn to do that.
It's all right. I don't always remember to do that.
Okay, so but I saw this guy who posted, and like his entire profile was, tell me about you. Tell me what kind of exercise you like to do. Tell me why exercise is important to you. Please include a body shot. And I'm going, why don't you just like say that what you're, because it's obvious that like he has a very specific body type that he wants. He wants a chick who's working out and who's tight and whatever. And I'm thinking, you should just say that, it just, and so I kind of took this as like, that's a sideways way of trying to weed out people who aren't your physical type. And I thought that was I personally thought that was kind of skunky. And I thought I would never in a million years text a guy like that, because he's all about the visual. He's all about the visual, all about the appearance. And it's
which is not a recipe for a long-lasting relationship.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So I think things like that happen that are not maybe quite as, send me a picture of your body, whatever. But like this whole thing about, tell me why exercise is important to you. And I'm going, but like all 5 of his things were about, tell me why you want to exercise all the time.
Yeah, it's okay if it was in there somewhere. Maybe
No, it was
number
like
2 or
pretty
number
much
3,
the-
but if that's the whole thing.
Conversation.
That's very common. That is very common.
Yeah. Well, at least those are the ones you can just
swipe
swipe left, swipe down, or whatever.
Okay, bring them
So
in.
I want to bring Pat in.
Yes.
Are you there, Pat?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm going to bring you in first so I don't forget you, because I still keep doing that. Have you received requests for pictures, or had women want to talk with you in an inappropriate way?
Well, first of all, if they're asking to receive a picture from me, you can't unsee some things. I'm just going to say that. But no, I actually have not. I've actually communicated with several girls online, but never requesting anything from them, other than trying to find out more about them. And usually, well, I won't say usually, all but one time, they just stopped asking anything and just went away. The one gal that I met on Mutual was from Alexandria, Virginia. Really nice gal. It's just timing-wise and everything just wasn't going to work out for us. But super nice. Never asked really any questions of me. And any pictures she sent me were pictures she sent of her traveling with her friend when they went to Europe while we were back and forth. I guess she had gone to Spain. I don't get why they do it, other than there's some anonymity of the internet,
Yeah,
which allows people to make that decision.
that's true. I can't imagine a guy going on a date with a lady and saying, "By the way, can you flash me?" Or, "Do you happen to have any naked pictures on you that you can give me to take home?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's more a guy thing than it is a girl thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking from any experience here, but it seems that that's more the case. I don't know. It's not something, in my opinion, it doesn't just happen. It's something that's been lingering for a while that they've been able to get away with. And frankly, if a guy says that he's that he's active in the church, but yet, smoking, drinking, or carousing, whatever you want to call it, chances are hopefully people's spidey sense is running full blast on that day and pick up on it right away.
Yeah, I'm not sure why some of these women don't pick up on it more quickly. We were talking about it a little bit. Mark's raising his hand. Boy, has he been chomping at the bit for a while. What do you want to say here, Mark?
Okay, women don't pick up on it because they really like the guy. And so if you really like the guy and you're attracted to the guy, you'll give him too much slack.
You'll do whatever he asks.
Right, because you want to go out with him because you're attracted to him. Guys, unfortunately, will bring up innuendo really quickly, and that's the big red flag to say, I don't really care about you, I just want to have sex with you, I want to get to know you physically. I'm not interested in having a relationship with you unless it involves physical contact. And so if you don't filter those guys out, you don't set good boundaries for those guys, because you really like how they look, then you're going down that road that they're asking, because they've done this before with other women, and other women have given them what they've asked for. And so you have to set your own boundaries and be confident that what you're looking for is not that type of guy. I don't care how attractive he is to you, he doesn't want a relationship with you. He just wants to have sex with you or get in your clothes or something like that.
You think he's a cross-dresser?
Good point.
I actually want women to be dressed when they send me pictures.
Yeah.
Let me see your style. Is
Right,
what
it's
Let me
true.
see your style. Yeah.
It's true because
Your fetish is clothing and dressing.
as a shopping consultant, I'm totally.
That's not a bad
I get
Go
I
shopping
get
with
people
you.
saying, "Don't judge me on how I'm dressing and everything," and I'm like, okay, I get that, but I don't. How you dress is a representation of who you are. How you are undressed is not a representation of who you are.
Yeah.
So if you're getting dirty talk requests, block immediately. There's no conversation at that point. There's no why are you asking me this question. It's
One
you
and
just
done.
showed me who you are and what you're about and what you're interested in. And if I entertain that for a second and don't set a boundary with you, what I'm saying to you is it's okay to have that conversation with me, or it's okay to do this to somebody else. You have all the power. Why aren't you exercising the power and saying, this is not my standards, go away, leave me alone, and you block them at that point and you don't have anything to do with them at that point? Because I have women friends who get pictures of inappropriate men and get requests for inappropriateness, and you're like, well, how did you get to that point? Well, we started talking about this, and that wasn't a clue that this is where this was going.
So some of the women might be a little naive or willing to settle for something because they want the attention.
Right.
So it means, to me, it seems like if the ladies would shut these men down more quickly, they would go away and stop doing this. And, maybe go over to non-member women that are more open to this. That's what always fascinates and shocks and disgusts me, is that there are so many men that are supposedly in the church that are looking for this inside of the church. And I've never understood why they don't go outside of the church where the standards are much lower. Yes, Mark, he's raised his hand.
It's because they feel like they belong to a group, an organization, or their family are LDS, and so they're LDS, but that's not the standards that they live, and that's not what they're looking for out of a relationship. They're looking for a physical relationship, and they're going to ask you to bend your standards to fit their ideas about what dating is, and they're not going to get married. They're not going to marry you. They're not going to take you to the temple and marry you. What they're going to do is ask you to change your standards to meet what they're looking for in a relationship, and that's all they're going to get out of you.
Or they're going to live a lie, and they're going to have you bend your standards, and then lie to go to the temple, and lie to do lots of things.
I think more men will have more respect for you. Like if you tell them no and they stay around, then you're saying that I expect you to respect me more. I expect more out of that.
Standards have to be the priority, not chemistry. You can have as much chemistry you want with somebody and not share their standards, and then you're going to have a problem when you go out with them. But if you have the same standards as them, and you have a little bit of chemistry, then you can go watch a movie on the couch with them and then not go anywhere because they share your standards. But the problem with the church, unfortunately, and with dating, is that we skip the standards part and go to the chemistry part. Oh, I really like this guy. And so when he wants to come over and watch a movie, oh, he wants to come over and watch a movie, we should watch a movie. Not realizing that what he didn't say, I don't want to watch a movie with you. What he said was, I want to have sex with you, or I want to be inappropriate with you. You think he's coming over to watch a movie. That's not what he said.
So he's saying Netflix and chill, and we're like thinking, because
Netflix
to me,
and chill.
to me that's like we're going to watch something on Netflix and we're going to chill out. But
Right.
apparently the world, that means something
It
else.
does.
Yeah,
That means
I'm all about
something
Netflix
very
and
different.
snacks.
Netflix and snacks.
And I
Because
don't even
we're
need a
chewing,
guy for
so
that.
if we're chewing, you can.
But that still doesn't keep their hands busy.
I'm gonna,
So I
point.
think Mark said something interesting though, and I think there's a difference between being LDS and living the standards.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really huge differentiation to make. Lots of people can say they're LDS. Lots of people. And I think the question then becomes, are you living the standards? Are you temple worthy? Are you? And yes, they can say that they are, but still come in on the backside with suggestions or what have you.
so
but
you have to filter them.
absolutely.
And you have to ask questions. And almost you have to
Absolutely.
plant a seed and see if they jump for that seed that you planted. You set a trap for them almost.
Oh no.
And I understand
That's
what you're saying,
entrapment.
but
Just kidding.
what you're saying is like say something inappropriate or something and see if he jumps on it.
But then they might not ever talk to you again because,
Well,
like, well,
I
she's
understand
inappropriate,
that
and you're
part
going,
too,
no, I was just
but-
testing you. And
Yeah, I don't
you're
think
like,
so.
bad
Yeah,
idea.
sure.
That's a bad idea.
Well, I think that you have to definitely do your due diligence in dating.
for
I
sure.
mean, not only, and I think people give themselves away pretty quickly, honestly.
Yeah.
This is true.
But there are some people that are consummate liars, and especially when you start on Facebook or Planet or Mingle, you only know what they're saying. Like, for instance, I have a friend that I'm friends with her in person, so I know her really well. And she told me all about her ex, right? And so I know all the scumbag things that he's done, and I know who he is because I know who she is. And I saw him on in one of the groups recently, and I know that he cheated on her multiple times, right? And so I saw there was this conversation in this group, and the question for the group was, would you date someone who cheated on their ex-spouse? And wouldn't you know, there's his response on there, no, never, of course not. And I was thinking, oh my gosh. So this is what's out there. There are people out there on Facebook lying through their teeth. And so you have to be really wary. Like, I think, ask the ex-spouse. I would say if you start getting serious about someone, have a conversation. You may not believe them, but at least you've got the information. Yes.
So with my when my sister started dating, my ex and I were going through the process of divorce, and I just told her, I said, make sure that the guys you're talking to, make sure you ask them certain questions, and make sure you listen for the answers. Like, ask them, why are you getting divorced, or why did you get divorced? And if there's not real concrete reasons, if you say, did you guys try counseling, and they go, then you're starting to get some red flags there. It really helps you to understand what they're willing to put into a relationship, how hard they're willing to fight for their commitment. Because I think there's a big difference between, I think at some point you have to be committed to commitment. And I think that that's a problem for a lot of people is because your feelings about another person are going to flux. They're going to flow, they're going to change, they're going to ebb. But if you're committed to commitment, you're committed to your covenants, you're going to be able to work through pretty much anything short of major standard blow out of the water type stuff. But I think a lot of it is doing your due diligence. And if you can't, my thing is if you can't talk to the ex, or there's not the opportunity to do that, talk to the bishop.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to the person's bishop, they're probably going to know what's what and what went down and what happened.
Does he even go to church? Does
Yeah.
the
Does
bishop
he even
even
go to
know
church?
who he is?
Right,
Yeah.
and if you've had these conversations, was the divorce, did he agonize over this decision, and do you feel like he got the right answer, and things like that. So I think I think there's a lot of things that you can do if you're willing to.
Just so we know, both my wives cheated on me,
I'm very sorry
and
to
they
hear
were
that.
both LDS and
I am
active in the
really
church.
sorry to hear that.
So
That's lousy.
it happens.
So there you
It's
go.
not
It
just
does.
a girl thing. It's a
So
guy thing
how
too.
do you think, well, I guess I shouldn't. I'm not going to go there. I was
You
going
can
to go
ask-
into a deep.
You can ask me a question.
Well, I just wanted to see if there's like a pattern of you being attracted to women that are.
I'll tell you what the problem was.
All right.
I know what the problem was now. I didn't value who I was. So when someone liked me, that was all that was necessary for me to fall in love with them. And I'd like two women who were very controlling and manipulative, and didn't have a good self-worth of myself, and didn't have good standards. So when they walked all over me and did what they liked, I just stayed and tried to work through it and try to make a relationship work, because I'm LDS. I was married and then sealed in the temple to the first one. And so it was really hard to find out that she was cheating on me for 6 months, and it destroyed me. And so when I got married the second time, I had a chat with God, and I said, no, I can't do this again. And then I got cheated on again. And it was only after my second divorce that I sat down with myself and had a introspective relationship look at and said, what's missing? You don't love yourself. And until you love who you are and what you're about, you're not really ready to date somebody and make a commitment with somebody, because you're trying to fill a hole that's not filled with your own love, with how they feel about you. You have to love who you are first, so that when you meet somebody, you're already whole, and then you can meet somebody who can add to that wholeness, and then you're going to have better experiences, and you're going to have nicer dating experiences. I still get hurt. I got hurt last year from a lady who was very controlled and manipulative, and I didn't see it because I was so, you had the rose-tinted glasses on, and you think everything's going to work out. And she gave me an ultimatum. And I knew when I got an ultimatum that we were done at that point. And so I just ended it immediately, because I knew that that's not who I am. So it's hard sometimes. We've had bad experiences with people, and we've been married to people who are controlling, manipulative, or we dated people who are like that. And you give them a second chance, and you give them a third chance, and a fourth chance, because you really want it to work. When the Holy Ghost is saying, what are you doing
Cut
here?
bait.
I think
Run
that kind of,
away.
I think that's probably why a lot of women get to a point where they're being asked for pictures or being asked for dirty talk. I mean, if that happens right away, obviously women would know to just say no. I mean, smart ones. But
it's silken cords.
Yeah.
Silken cords.
But
Pull
if
you in.
some
Yeah.
flattery and
right,
some,
if a woman has a low self-esteem for whatever
Yes.
reason, especially coming out of a bad abusive marriage or relationship, because I remember when I was first divorced, this guy, and I think this was kind of his MO, is he'd go out and find women that are like in the process or newly divorced. And he seemed like such a great guy, and he befriended me, and we were friends. He never really did anything wrong, but I remember when I remember talking to him on the phone one day, and I'm driving down the freeway, and I'm talking on the phone with him, and I remember thinking, wow, a quality guy likes me. Wow, like it was so earth-shattering, and now I look back and I'm like, duh, of course a quality guy would like me. I'm totally worthwhile.
You rock.
But when I came out of that marriage, my self-esteem was so low that a guy liking me that was quality was like earth-shattering.
Right.
And so I think sometimes women especially, their self-esteem is shot for whatever reason, and so maybe they get sucked into this where these men, they start thinking, well, it's not a big deal if I, what's the big deal to show him a picture?
But he likes me.
Yeah,
Yay,
he likes
me.
me.
I want to keep him around. He's asking for something I found borderline okay or not okay. So
Yeah.
how far do I go down this road to keep him around, because he likes me, he's a quality guy? The fact that he'd asked you
Right.
then precludes him from being a quality guy.
Yeah, no,
Which
this guy
part of
wasn't
that do
asking
you-
me for those
No,
pictures.
but that's what I'm
But
just
right,
saying.
I think a lot of times women, I keep saying women because it seems like women are the ones that are mostly getting sucked in by this. And women don't usually go around asking for pictures. It's mostly men. But I think maybe women like the attention. They like the idea of being liked. And so maybe that's the way they get sucked in.
They're flattered.
They're flattered. And they're getting emotional support.
Strokes. You get emotional
Strokes,
strokes, right?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, Anonymous, I'm going to wrap up this episode by telling you a few things. First of all, yes, a lot of women are getting this, so it's not unusual. Secondly, it's never, ever, ever okay. Don't ever think you need to give into this, because you don't. Please don't ever give into this. Number 3, there are good men out there. I've got one at the table. I've got one on the phone. Say hi, Pat.
Hi.
And I know for a fact there are good men out there. There are even local good men, and you're local. So if you ever want to come to an activity, I can point out to you some good men.
The good guys.
I do know some for a fact that don't do this. There are men out there that do not ask for the pictures or want dirty talk. There are good, strong LDS men. They're not all boring. Some of them are, I grant you. But there are some really great guys. So I would encourage you to come out to some firesides. We have parties at my place. We're having a party tonight. It's all over Facebook. You can hardly miss it.
Dinners.
Doing
a dance party in a couple of weeks.
Dance party at Amy's in a couple of weeks.
I'm going to get that posted.
Woo woo.
80s. It's going to be heavy
Game
on
nights
the
are good too.
Yeah.
Game nights are good.
Game nights are fantastic.
Yes, and so go to Albuquerque. We could bring another person in my van. Anyway, there are good men out there. Please don't think that they're all like this, and do not think you ever need to settle for less than someone who's going to treat you like you deserve to be treated, like a child of God, to be totally respected and totally treated like a queen or a princess or whatever. But you never, ever, ever should settle for less than that. And men, stop it.
I'm going to say on that, having been single for almost 10 years, I know lots of good guys. Well, okay, I know not a lot of good guys. I know lots of guys who I can't recommend to anybody. And that's a sad part of being single.
But there are people that can recommend.
But there are good guys out there at the same time.
So you need someone to filter.
I can say to somebody when they ask me about a guy, oh yeah, here's my rule on gossip per se. If you ask me about a guy, and I like the guy, and I know he's a good guy, I'll tell you everything I like about the guy. If you ask me about a guy that I don't like, for whatever reason may be, I won't tell you anything about him.
Well, there's a
and
clue.
that tells you everything.
And Mark is in Utah, FYI, so he can't help you with the Denver guys.
Local.
But if you have questions about Denver guys,
But I can drive.
ask me, and I can find an answer
In
for
the
you.
snow.
But, anyway, so that's my answer to Anonymous. And we're going to wrap it up because we're about 40 minutes into this now. What we're going to do is we're going to do a second recording where we actually talk about the topic, which is dating the enemy, which is kind of a segue from this topic anyway, but we're going to shift gears a little bit. So thank you for your email. And like I mentioned before, if you are going to become a member Patreon, you will get to ask the questions in the future. Mm-hmm. And so please listen again and stop by AnnetteTalks.com and post a comment or suggestions or just to check in. Or you can always email me at AnnetteTalks.com. Thank you for listening to LDS Unmarried Life, where LDS singles gather.
I'm gonna bloom where I'm planted. I won't take things for granted. Come what may, bring it on. I'm gonna love it.